Hello and welcome to the Pet Healer Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Mitzi Vargas. And today, this is kind of like a special edition. I'm starting a series on respiratory viruses and the herbals that could help us manage these respiratory viruses. And it is very apropos because right now in the United States of America, we are having this mysterious illness. I think the media has done their part into scaring people, and that's what they do. And the funny thing is, this is the usual seasonal outbreak of influenza in people, and in dogs, sometimes some respiratory outbreaks of kennel cough and of mycoplasma are usually seen at this time of the year. And I just saw some data from Trupanion. They had a webinar put out talking about this incidence of this respiratory illness. And yes, there are more cases, more claims were done, but they follow the pattern, the seasonal pattern in their previous years, so that gave me some comfort. And I hope it gives you some comfort to know that seasonally there's an increase, an uptick on mycoplasma and kennel cough at this time of the year. But that, of course, there is the dog flu, and we have 2 strains of dog flu, and we're going to talk about the dog flu at the end of this series. But the importance as a holistic practitioner, we have special superpowers. We can use acupuncture. There are great points for acupuncture like GB14, the SUI, which is a great point for just anti-inflammatory point, but also to raise your immunity. Bitong, which is points that we can use in the face. Long Wei Bitong, they're classical, and they can be used to clear sinuses. And of course, doing long 1 and long 5 and long 9. Those are great ways of clearing the long meridian. Tai Jing Yang Ming, which is using long, large intestine, stomach, and spleen, as also a way of balancing. And there are many ways of really assessing this with the holistic view. But I'm going to focus on the antiviral herbs. There are many categories. Some of them are more antiviral. Some of them are more immune stimulants. Some of them are really expectorant. So the first in this series is going to be about the herbs that really help us, to combat the viruses. So if it is influenza or parainfluenza, or they say even pneumovirus would be the mysterious virus, any of those, there are some really good herbs. How do we know that? Because we use it in humans. And some of them, like peppermint, I didn't put the peppermint oil, which we know that we use a lot in humans. And most of the preparations are peppermint oiled, and there are other that maybe are toxic for animals, but the ones that I'm going to talk about, they are not. The first one is thyme leaf, Thymus vulgaris, and thyme is a very popular herb in culinary recipes, right? People love to put thyme and use it just because of the flavor, and the smell is very aromatic. It actually contains remarkable antiviral properties. The compounds that are being identified in many studies, you can do a search on PubMed and see that thyme leaf, Thymus vulgaris, have been used for multiple studies, antiviral therapies. And the 2 main components that have been proven effective is thymol and carvacrol. They both have antiviral activity against influenza strains and the common cold. And so that's why when you look at the cough tablets or cough remedies, they usually add thyme. And they do relieve congestion as well, and they have some support for the whole respiratory tract. How can we give it to our pets? Well, you could do the thyme leaf or the plant itself. You can buy the thyme that they sell for, just to spice department in Publix or in your supermarket, and just usually it's dried up thyme, and you can just add it to the food, and something as simple as that. You could also do tinctures or teas using thyme, and you can add honey to it, and then just do a small tea and do a quarter cup for your dog on their food, or separate if they like it. Usually when you add honey, they will drink it. So that's a good way to do that. And these herbs could be used as a preventative right now, because again, if your dog is constantly exposed to other dogs, or you just are concerned, you're traveling, things like that, this is a good way to just add a little extra oomph to the food, so that it would be food therapy. The other one is Andrographis. Andrographis paniculata is this herb, and it is known as the king of bitters, and it is well known in Ayurveda medicine and also in Chinese medicine. It contains andrographolids, and these are the components that have been studied in many extensive studies in humans, because of the antiviral properties. They say, means the results of these studies say, that it seems to shorten the duration of the colds, and that the influenza symptoms, the flu symptoms, are lessened. In China, they do use a lot of herbals to manage outbreaks of flu. And this is one of them, because it actually helps with the cough, the fever, and the sore throat. And if you look in PubMed, again, this is very well-studied herb. Most of the studies were in vitro, but the ones that were in vivo, they were using rat and mice models, and they were giving super high dosages to the 5-10 times the dosage for rats and mice, and didn't cause any side effects. They did a study using mice because they were doing an allergic asthma model. So they were trying to see if allergic bronchitis or allergic asthma could be helped with this herb. And they really came up with the conclusion that the allergen-induced inflammation, when they smell the pollen, or when they smell something that is reacting in the tract and causing the hypersensitivity, that it actually helps clear that. It also helps with inhibiting NF-KB expression in the lungs, which is something that will happen with an asthmatic. My holistic colleagues use this as a pill or a capsule. They buy it online. Andrographis it becomes in capsules, and you can just do, if it's a small dog, you can do a third of what a human will do. Start with that, and then a half. If your dog is having pneumonia, then I would definitely add Andrographis, because you're nothing to lose. You can win a lot. The next one is mint. Peppermint leaf or mint, it's very refreshing herb. We know, because we all of those cough drops and Ricola and everything, they use peppermint because contain menthol, and we know that menthol is a decongestion. It really helps with the cold and flu symptoms as well. And in people, I see a lot of people using peppermint for headaches and migraines. It seems to help. In dogs, I do not recommend using peppermint oil, which is what most people use for themselves. And I don't recommend to diffuse a spray or do anything like that with peppermint oil, because especially in cats, it could cause side effects. I will recommend to adding fresh peppermint leaves, peppermint to the diet. They sell the Mentha piperita, which is the name of the leaf. You can buy it dried up, and you can add it to the food, and that should be safe. Also, calendula. I know that calendulas is also known as marigolds. Marigold flowers have very antiviral effects, very potent little flowers. The ones that they have that cause these effects are flavonoids and three terpenoids. They have been proven to have antiviral and immune stimulating effects. So it's great for the inflamed mucous membranes when you get cold symptoms. It actually helps with inflammation, so the fevers, and it helps in the recovery process. So if you have pneumonia, you're past the worst stage, then it kind of like can help you. Marigolds can help you get to the next thing. So in people, you can take it as a tea, and also you can do it as a tea for the pets. I doubt that they would like to eat marigold flowers, but you can do the tea and just add it. And most of these herbs, you can do tinctures of them, tinctures of marigold. And so it's a super concentrated amount. Sometimes it has too much alcohol, so look for that. But they can boost the immune system. They can just help them recover. Sometimes we can avoid the infection, but maybe we can just get over it very quick and without getting into pneumonia, which is the danger of this. So I hope that this was useful for you guys, and we are doing part 2, which is some expectorant herbs. So I expect you to stay tuned. Until then, take care.